here from the New York Stock Exchange. How about talking about one company whose stock so far year to date is up nearly 10%? Noah, not a lot of companies we could say that here. Noah Glass just rang the opening bell, of course. He's the founder and CEO at Olo. Thanks for being here and congratulations on doing the bell.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here and celebrating our 20-year anniversary as a company. Wild.
Yeah, so, talk to me. Did you ever imagine 20 years ago when all this got off the ground, you'd be down here 2 decades later, not only celebrating the anniversary, but getting to do it by ringing the iconic opening bell?
I never imagined that. And it was actually 2 blocks from here that I first had the idea for Olo more than 20 years ago, all about getting a cup of coffee faster at my local coffee shop. So having seen that go from a convenience to a cause and something that we're doing as a company at the scale of 88,000 restaurants, that's really special.
I would love asking CEOs about those aha moments. If you could go back to that coffee shop down here in Lower Manhattan 20 years ago, what were those next kind of actionable follow-up items for you to make this company a reality?
So if you think about 20 years ago, we did not have smartphones. It was under 5% of mobile phones that were smartphones. So initially we built a text message ordering application that let you order and pay by text message and then skip the line at the coffee shop. I knew in my mind that we were just about to get smartphones. They were about to become ubiquitous, but it was long before iPhone was announced, Android came around, Uber came around, and people started thinking, this thing is a remote control for buying things in my everyday life.
For any of our viewers who might be a little bit familiar with Olo and certainly very familiar with the broader restaurant space, talk to me much more about your mission, your values, and the business that you do so people learn a little bit more.
Yeah, the big thing that we talk about in terms of mission is what we call hospitality at scale. And it's really helping restaurants use all of the guest data that is the great co-product of all of the transactional data that comes through our platform to understand their guests better, to make them feel known. And that's really the essence of hospitality that even large brands like Chili's and Shake Shack and Texas Roadhouse can do using the Olo platform.
How have you gone about being able to effectively scale and grow a team over 2 decades? It's one thing to have the idea as a founder. It's another thing altogether. And I think it really is art by ensemble a lot. What does that process look like for you and the team?
Well, for a long time, we really steeped in our core values as a company. We were a 12-person company for the first 8 years of our existence. And then we realized we hit product market fit. It was time to step on the gas. We'd gotten to profitability, but it was time to grow. And we radically scaled from 12 people up to over 600 people over the next 8 years, but all following this blueprint of what made an Olo team member an Olo team member. And it still feels that way today. I'm very proud of that fact 20 years after starting the company.
And what most excites you? And I also wonder what most overwhelms you at time with doing the crucial work that you do so closely tied to the restaurant industry?
I think the thing that's overwhelming to our industry is just how hard it is to run a restaurant. It is a very thin profit margin business, and there are a lot of pressures. It's a very competitive space, the restaurant industry, everybody vying for a hungry guest. I think the restaurants who are leaning into guest data and how they can personalize the guest experience by using that data, and of course, use things like AI and machine learning to do so, those are the restaurants that are going to succeed and thrive in this time, even in economic uncertainty.
Yeah, how are you going about kind of navigating all of the new emerging technologies? No, it seems like every day we've got a new large language model, a new AI bot, something that promises to make things easier. I'm sure you and your team, you gotta grapple and face head on a lot of those technologies. What do those emerging trends look like for the company at Olo?
Yeah, there's a lot of exciting things that are happening out there. I think we have always been an open-minded company. One of our core values is something called Excelsior. That's the state motto of New York, and it means ever upward. And part of that is being open-minded and curious and learning from new technologies and then applying them to the space that we operate in, that our customers operate in. And that's always served us well.
What is one lesson that you wish you learned sooner in your journey as a founder and CEO?
I think the enduring lesson of our story in these 20 years is do not stop. Keep going, don't stop believing. That's become the anthem of the company. And there are a lot of ups and downs as a startup and even as a scale up, but staying true to the mission and understanding that point on the horizon that you're sailing towards and just keeping on going. That is the most important thing.
I gotta say, I really hope that 20 years from today, you and I are right back down here. You're celebrating 40 years of the company overall. Talk to me about what you hope your expectations or your ambitions are for this company for the next 2 decades.
Yeah, well, big ambitions. What we really think the next 20 years is all about is taking all of this guest data that guests want to share with restaurants and then helping restaurants to know their guests and make them feel known. And I think that is the journey that we started really 20 years ago, but that we've really brought to a head today, where we can see every transaction, those running through our platform and those that are happening in restaurant through our payment platform, to pull 100% of transactions into our data platform behind every guest, so that brands can really make every guest feel like a regular.
I'm about out of time. Real quick, if you can, where can people go to find out more about your work at Olo?
The best place to go is olo.com. You can find us on LinkedIn as well. And we love being out there and talking to people and getting new ideas. So would love to hear from folks that are interested.
20 years in the books. Congratulations to you, my friend, and many wishes to 20 more. Noah Glass, founder and CEO at Olo, ringing the opening bell here at the New York Stock Exchange. Congratulations.
Thank you, Jay.